Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Welcome to Talking Politics. I am your host, Robert Press. As you can see by my official New York City press card, I write for the Bronx Chronicle. I also contribute to the Co-op City News and Park Justice Times. The latter, the Park Justice Times, like this show, is part of Muslim Media Corporation. The views expressed on this show are those of the host, any guest, or those of the viewers whose comments come across the bottom of the screen. Before I go into the weather, I want to wish Community Board 11 member Cynthia Rodriguez a happy 41st birthday. Cynthia's birthday, however, was yesterday, and one of her early presents was a case of COVID. So she is recuperating now, and happy birthday, Cynthia Rodriguez. And of course, when I asked her, can I come over and test my immunity? She said no, so she must care for me. Let me get into the weather now. It'll be getting warmer for Christmas, with today being the coldest of the 4 days. Today, the temperature should not get over 40, but it will be clear as it will be for all 4 days. Saturday warms up to 44 degrees. Sunday gets close to 50, and on Christmas Day, the temperature should reach 50 degrees. So if you want a white Christmas here in the Bronx, you're going to have to make your own snow. Into our politics. Former President Donald Trump has been thrown off the ballot in Colorado. But while the matter will go to the Supreme Court, there are 25 other states who want to throw Trump off the ballot, including New York. This decision is the Colorado Supreme Court said he violated Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Section 3 of the Civil War era 14th Amendment says no person shall hold office, civil or military, under the United States who having previously taken an oath as an officer of the United States to support the Constitution of the United States shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion. So he will be off the ballot in the Colorado Republican primary unless the Supreme Court changes that. However, Republicans in Colorado have decided not to have a primary, and they're going to caucus instead. Now, as far as people in New York State, New York's population decreased by 101,984 residents, the largest loss of any state during the 12-month period that ended July 1st of this year. According to just released Census Bureau estimates, the Empire State's population as of mid-2023 was pegged at 19,571,216, a cumulative decline of 631,104 people from the Census Bureau's updated April 2020 base count. The 12-month trend for the period ending July 1st was driven by a net outflow of 216,788 New Yorkers to the rest of the country, meaning that number of people moved out of the Empire State and moved to other states during the previous 12 months. It was exceeded only by California's net outflow of 338,371 people. The total U.S. population as of July 1st, 2023, was estimated at 334,914,315 people, up about 1.6 million people, or 0.5% from 1 year earlier. New York City in 2020 had a population of 8,804,194 people, which dipped to 8,335,897 in 2022, or a minus 5.3% net loss. The Bronx went from 1,472,656 people in 2020 to 1,379,964 people in 2022, or a net loss of 6.3%. The reason it was said is because of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, Mayor Adams is blaming rats on the problem, along with the cost of living and COVID-19 as big reasons why New Yorkers are fleeing to other states. With the redistricting going on of the congressional lines, Governor Kathy Hochul said at a press conference Wednesday she will not get involved in the next round of redistricting to tip the scales in favor of the Democrats. And she plans to okay whatever maps the redistricting committee or legislature puts on her desk. Now, a Rikers Island update from Controller Brad Lander, his dashboard shows as of December 1st, Department of Correction jails detained 6,148 people, 14 fewer than the previous month. 1,819 people entered jails in November, 28 more people than in October, and 1,825 people were discharged, 28 fewer than the previous month. In November, the average length of detention increased to 104 days, 1 day an increase, and 20% of people held in Rikers have serious mental illness. In October, the last month the data is available. Incarcerated people missed medical appointments 13,610 times in September. The last month the data is available. The average number of uniformed staff totals 6,336, 4 officers fewer than October and November. Violence indicators mostly decreased in November. However, there were 6 fewer assaults on staff from in October, with 50 total assaults on staff in November. Jails had 61 more fights, which increased the number to 508 fights in November, and there were 15 fewer slashings and stabbings, a decrease of 23 since October, representing a substantial decrease from the prior months. What that means is Rikers is still in bad shape, and it looks like the federal government's going to have to take it over. New York State Attorney General James and Governor Hochul, along with Office of Cannabis Management, shut down an illegal cannabis store in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, Big Chief Smoke Shop, for operating without a license. This smoke shop sold cannabis for months without a license and ignored repeatedly orders by OCM and other law enforcement authorities to stop operating. Investigators from the State Taxation Department and Finance inspected the store on 2 occasions and confiscated more than 600 pounds of cannabis and cannabis products that were not tested by OCM. In addition to shutting down the store, the AG and OCM are seeking penalties from the store owner and the owner of the building where the store was located for allowing an unlawful business to operate on the property. This is the 9th unlicensed cannabis store that was shut down by the AG and OCM. Civil penalties can require the store owner to pay up to $10,000 a day for each day which he sold cannabis without a license, and up to $20,000 for each day the individual continued to sell cannabis after receiving an order to cease operating from OCM. Under the cannabis law, building owners can be fined $10,000 per day for allowing unlicensed sales of cannabis on their property. However, there's one thing about this confiscated cannabis. No one has said, and there's no provision in the law as to what is going to happen to all this illegal cannabis that's confiscated. Moving on to the city council, they introduced at their last council meeting of Wednesday of 2023, there were 4 intros passed. Intro 549 would ban solitary confinement in city jails. Intro 586A would require the NYPD to publicly report all police civilian investigation stops. Currently, they're only required to issue reports on level 3 or reasonable suspicion stops. Intro 781A would require the NYPD to document information surrounding vehicle stops, including the justification for the stop and whether the observed offense was cited as justification. Intro 585A would require the NYPD to turn over body-worn camera footage to the Department of Investigation Inspectors General for the NYPD within 10 days of receiving a request, unless disclosure is prohibited by law. Mayor Adams is exploring options on these bills because he says what you're going to do is you're going to slow down officers. They'll be writing reports and they won't be out on the streets handling crime. All the intros, by the way, were all passed with veto-proof numbers. Now, as far as we get into budget cuts, Mayor Adams has kicked open the door to tax hikes and city layoffs and is blaming the Biden administration for the threatened wallops to taxpayer wallets. Adams said his administration is struggling to close the city's expected $7 billion budget gap next year, giving increasing migrant costs as the reason. He added the federal government has been AWOL in terms of financially helping with what is a nationally created problem. When asked about property tax hikes and layoffs of city workers to help balance the city's budget, Adams gave his normal answer. Everything is on the table. Asked where the layoffs will begin. His answer was, again, everything is on the table. Meanwhile, the mayor's political approval ratings have sunk in recent weeks thanks to widespread pushback on the spending cuts he ordered earlier in the year and to try and bring the budget under control. The cuts have resulted in libraries ending their Sunday hours and lawmakers warning the reductions will lead to less maintenance and fewer trash pickups in city parks. He is pushing for more budget aid from Albany, which has already provided $1.9 billion. By comparison, the federal government has only provided $156 million. I don't see relief in sight coming from Washington. Adams said on Tuesday, we're going to need more help from the state in this budgetary season. He also added, we must have a balanced budget every 2 years by law. And my final item before I go to the commercial is Mayor Adams fired off a letter Tuesday calling on the owners of every migrant shelter to start offering up rent reduction proposals and other cost-saving measures or risk losing their contracts. Where real estate costs are too high, the city will consider immediate closure of facilities and termination of existing space agreements. The administration called on the shelter landlords to submit their cost-cutting proposals by December 29th, which is a few days away. More than 67,300 migrants are currently being put up into 214 taxpayer-funded shelters scattered across the 5 boroughs at a cost of more than $7 billion already. The move comes after the mayor faced widespread backlash about his 2024 fiscal plan, cutting an initial 5% to the budget and asking for another 5%. Under the plan, the mayor said migrants' costs were set to be slashed by 20%, in part by reducing staffing and services. Now, let me stop here and go to a commercial. When I return, I will have a brief update on the December 19th Community Board 11 full board meeting and introduce my guests for today, Mr. Darnie KBorn Rivers and Ms. Grace Lovick, and what both of these people, one from the west side, Mr. KBorn, and Grace from the east side, have in common. So let's go to our commercial, please.
In a world where the quality of information available to poorer communities is doctored, tainted, and sometimes regressive, where the words fake news have come to mean other people's opinions, it is vital to rely on news platforms with journalists who have feet on the ground and can report the truth. New York Parrot, a New York-based national and global news outlet, is changing the narratives of media operations. We focus on the news that matters, like self-empowerment, entrepreneurship, finances, health, security, politics, and more. We strive to curb violence, racial and economic discrimination, and to promote peace and socio-economic development of multiculturally diverse world. As we give voice to the people, we also give your business a voice and make it heard. Get your products and services off the ground by advertising on our fast-growing platform. With so much of daily visits to New York Parrot, you can't afford to be invisible to prospective clients on the websites they trust the most. Our posts reach millions of people across the New York State and around the world. Advertising on our new site will unlock an audience of thousands of potential customers on your doorstep. New York Parrot is born to prosperously speak tomorrow for the voiceless.
Okay, welcome back. I see I have both guests here, but first, let me give you an update on Tuesday's Community Board 11 meeting. There was no fighting at Community Board 11 at that meeting. There was no problems because there was no meeting. The meeting was canceled at the last minute. And as I see Grace shaking her head, she was on her way to that meeting, and as were several of the people, and the meeting was canceled 90 minutes before the end. Now, let me welcome KBorn on. KBorn, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Could you hear me clear?
Yes. I know you're a West Side activist, and there's one thing that you and Grace have. I know, Grace, I'll get to you in a minute. I want to go to KBorn first. Tell us a little bit about the West Side, what you're doing, and this petition that you have.
My name is Donnie KBorn Rivers. I'm a founder of a nonprofit organization named I Am My Community, Inc. We promote public safety through mental health awareness programs. We have parenthood programs. And we also have an anti-violence unit, which means when somebody gets shot, harmed, or assaulted, robbed in our community, we take it upon ourselves to find out what happened to who and why. And we try to get both sides together so it don't be no type of retaliation. And I'm on the west side. I'm on like the Fordham Road area, the 183rd, between like Fordham Road to, I give it from like Kingbridge to Tremont.
Now, what's happening with the Kingsbridge Armory right now? Anything? It's been vacant for a long time.
Well, I'm 55 years old. I used to go to the Boys Club, the Boy Scouts, inside the Armory. The Armory is not a place. They keep on every few decades. They bring it up just for, so propaganda. So they could just bring it up, and they start talking about all these hundreds of millions of dollars and billions of dollars that they're gonna put into the Armory. That's all a bunch of crap, bunch of cheap talk, and ain't nothing happening to that Armory. They keep saying that they're gonna make a mall and a ice skating ring. You cannot live in that Armory because first of all, that is a that they made that for and with nuclear, when back in the days when they used to talk about all the nuclear stuff and you're supposed to go there for safety. So that place is like 7-8 stories underground.
Mm-hmm.
We used to go down there. It's army tanks down there. It's all type of, like this much dust down there from this. I'm talking about in the 70s, this much dust. So imagine how much dust is down there. That's not a livable condition. You can't live there. And I can't see them tearing it down because, in case we have
it's a national landmark. You can't.
It's a bomb shelter.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's get to this petition you have. Now, I understand you're angry at certain persons, so let's describe your petition.
Well, it's basically saying that, they're not competent. She's here and she's not really doing nothing. She's not doing, like I said, I have a organization that's saving lives, and we have the whole community. Every Wednesday we give out the food pantry. We have over 100 families over there. That lady have not stepped through that community not one time. We've sent her invites. So how much crime could you be trying to stop if this is a high-risk area where you look at it on the map, there's nothing but red dots all over it. People was getting killed and shot and robbed. And we had a whole 6-7 months peace, not even a fight or argument. These are the type of things that people should be awarded for. These are the type of things that they should come around and recognize so that other people could catch on and go on. We even had the Eyewitness News named our block as a safe place to go for Halloween. So we had, they had all on the news we didn't even know. The whole neighborhood coming like, yo, man, y'all on the news, y'all on the news. So we already got all the way to Eyewitness News. I know it got down to the borough president office. Then we got the assemblywoman, Udelka Tapia. Her office is 2 blocks from there. We got the councilwoman, Parrot Sanchez. Her office like 5 blocks around there. These people play no part in the community, no type of interaction at all.
So the petition is against, is for what? For what is the petition about?
Basically for her to get out the seat because
that's her being the borough president.
Yes, basically for her to be, just to get out the seat, just her there, right there. You can see how the Bronx is falling apart. It's falling apart. It's like we already was in a downward pattern from the 70s. In the 80s, then we started going up. Things started changing, and then it really started changing after like the last 4 or 5 years. People was probably, a lot of people saying, "Yo, the Bronx looking good, man. The Bronx is quiet." And then she came and took the position, and the Bronx just went all the way down again, man. We got kids dying and fentanyl inside these daycare centers. Repeatedly. We got buildings falling apart. If you go by the average building in the Bronx and you look at it, if it's not a new building and it's been there for years, it's grade D.
Mm-hmm.
It's grade D, and it's everywhere,
So you're mad at basically the borough president?
Yes, the borough president. The borough president.
Grace on, if I can, and hear her side. Grace, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Good morning, Grace.
Good morning. Hey.
Okay, move a little into the. Okay, there you go, Grace.
Okay. Well,
now, let's see your side of the story where you're mad, and it's the same petition, I understand, to oust the borough president. Am I right?
Right. And it's not a question about being angry. I'm just tired. Everybody's tired of the nonsense. It's not just me. Everybody complains and about this not getting done, and Vanessa's not doing this, and this one's not. But they all they're doing is talking. I'm actually putting something into action. I'm trying to give Vanessa a notice, but she needs to be put on notice that she needs to either straighten up and fly right and do right by the community, or she's gone. She's gone. Whether or not we can remove her, have her removed. From what I understand, our illustrious, wonderful former governor Cuomo, Andrew, took away the people's right to recall elected officials and gave that right only to the state,
Right.
which is a bunch of bullshit. Crap.
Right. The governor is the only one who can remove the mayor or anybody else.
Right.
So,
that needs to be put on that needs to be put on a ballot at some point.
okay.
That needs to
We'll get
be
back to you in a
changed.
second.
Okay. So
Grace. Okay,
okay.
Danny wanted to say something. Darnie, you wanted to say something?
No, I agree with her 100%.
Okay. Grace, you live in Community Board 11. I know you.
Right. I've
And
been
you
going.
videotape the meetings.
Right. I live stream at pretty much everything.
Okay. There seemed to be a problem at the November meeting.
Yes, and that's basically when the shit hit the fan. That's when I think, excuse my French, parlez-vous français? So at that meeting, we knew, because I've been involved in the community for, like 20
This is
plus
what's
years.
going on the east side.
What's going on over here is that Vanessa appointed certain individuals to disrupt the community board. I'm not saying CB11 was perfect by any means. However, it was a functional community board. Now it is so dysfunctional. These people that are on there, they're progressive socialists, is what they are. So if she's putting on some socialists, that tells me she's a socialist. She's in the pocket. She's in the pocket, as far as I'm concerned. My opinion, what I've seen, she's in the pocket of the developers, and all these buildings are going up. She's in with the mayor with rezoning the city of Yes. She's all for that. But yet she came to this meeting. We knew ahead of time that they were attempting a coup, these certain individuals. And so we went to see I wanted to see what was going on. I definitely wanted to record it. Vanessa showed up. Who knew she was going to show up with her camera crew? That was her photo op. She came and made this whole big speech. And at first, and I thought that it was directed to the squad. I call them the squad, to basically stop, calm down, and don't do what they were going to do. However, after thinking, I'm listening to her speaking, then I started thinking, well, she's basically talking to them in code to go ahead, and she's got their back. So what did they do? They went ahead with what they planned on doing. They're trying to remove Bernadette Ferrara, the first female chair of Community Board 11, and Al D'Angelo, who's the vice chair. Now, both of those people have been community advocates, activists, leaders for decades. Long before these people, I don't even know if they were born yet. Definitely some of them weren't born when Al has been around. And Bernadette, she's not as old as Al, but they were probably children when she started getting involved in the community. So, and these people are not, to me, as far as I know, they're not from the community. I've been going to community board meetings for, let's say, 10 years, okay? I have tried to get on the community board. Ruben Diaz promised he would put me on. He was a liar. Mark Jonai said he would look at it and get back to me. Another liar. They never put me on because, in my opinion, I am a very strong, opinionated person, and I tell it like it is, and that's that. If you don't like it, challenge me or rebut me, whatever. Come up with your own. But anyway, so at this meeting, they went ahead. They went into executive session, which they really shouldn't have done. They had no reason for executive session, but they went into executive session to basically rule, because they have the numbers now. There's like at least 9 of them or more. They have the numbers to overrule any common sense. So they went in executive session, they come out, they voted to form a committee to remove Bernadette Ferrara as chair and Al D'Angelo as vice chair. However, at the end of that meeting, when I waited till the end. Most people left. When they let us back in, there was so much disrespect towards Bernadette and Al. And at one point, Malcolm Gray shot the bird. And I have the video and I have the picture to prove it. I saw it. I wasn't the only witness. And that's not the first time. Miguel Dyer also shot the bird at a community member during a committee meeting. Why are these people not removed? Why are they still there? Vanessa has gotten complaint after complaint after complaint, not only from the community board, from you, Bob. She's not answering your FOIL request. I mean, listen, she needs to either remove these people or she needs to go. And it's just that simple. And whether or not we can remove her, at least she's going to be put on notice that we are not happy with her decisions. She's not doing what's right by the community. She's destroying our communities with her involvement with the real estate developers and all the other things that she's doing to mess this area up.
Okay, let me bring KBorn back in for a second. You live in Community Board 6, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Community Board 3.
3. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What is happening? Have you gone to Community Board 3 meetings?
Well, the meetings was canceled because of COVID, and then when they came back in, they're supposed to have. I used to go when it was on Burnside, but now they moved to Bronx Community College. Now check this out: the board specifically came to me, asked me to apply to be on the board. I fit all the criteria. Everybody wanted me on the board. I applied to go on the board. Vanessa Gibson personally sent me a letter telling me that I couldn't get on the board until she have some type of meeting in March. And if some people was available or some spaces available in March, then she would reconsider me getting on the board. So that right there tells you right there that she's playing games right there. Who are you? I mean, she's putting in the people, like the Queen said, that she want to put in there to disrupt. If the community wanted me on the board, I got all the criteria to fit on. I got certificates, I got this, I got everything. I've been living in that community for 47 years. I graduated from Bronx Community College. Vanessa Gibson is nowhere near from that community. She probably haven't been in the Bronx in 47 years.
Well, I know, KBorn, I know her as an assemblywoman, as a councilwoman, so she's been in the Bronx at least 20 or 30 years.
Yeah,
I think
I've been in the Bronx. I've been in the Bronx for 5 years. I've been on my Pacific community for 47 years. And I remember when she was the assemblywoman and all that on in 170th Jerome Avenue. I was born and raised on 170th and Morris Avenue. On 170th and College Avenue, kids has been getting killed all the way to this summer when AJ got killed over there. So even when Vanessa was there, it was people getting shot in the train station. It was getting people shot right in front of her office. It was the liquor store right across the street with 100 people. So what
I'm going to say to both of you, okay, the first 2 years of the administration of a borough president, they have control of the community boards, and they will put people who they feel will support them on the community boards and try and take off of community boards people that don't support them. It's been done. You can look at Freddie Ferrer. He did it. Adolfo Carrion did it. Ruben Diaz did it. As a matter of fact, I was one of the people Ruben Diaz put on in his second year as borough president on Community Board 8. I was not there to disrupt anything. I became a valued member of Community Board 8, and I was not reappointed because I was not supporting Rafael Salamanca at the time in the special election. You may remember, KBorn. I supported John Perez. Okay, so I was warned by 2 operatives of the Bronx County organization at a forum, Mr. Press, you better watch out. You're up for reappointment this year. And 10 p.m. the day before I would be on again, I received a call from my chair of my board. I'm sorry, the borough president didn't reappoint you. And when I saw him the next night, since I'm a reporter, I was at an event with him. When I said, hello, Ruben, he was at a loss for words. And I said, don't worry, Ruben, I know why you did it. Okay? So it's politics. A lot of this is politics.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, it is politics, Bob. However, this is not the place for politics on community boards. There needs to be an overhaul. That's called corruption. That's called a swamp.
No,
All right.
no,
The same thing. Wait, also wanted to say that, I know I know they want to fundamentally change the Bronx up here, especially the Northeast Bronx. There's a war on white people, and I'm just saying it at like it is. We all know it, okay? So don't say no, there isn't. We know that's a fact. And she is proving to be racist. I mean, I know of an office of a job that is available in her office, where the requirements are to be you're either Spanish or African American. So if you're white or Asian, you can't apply. That's racism. That's discrimination, and that needs to be addressed. And there's got to be somebody higher than her and higher than the governor, because we know they're all in cahoots together to fix this.
Yes.
What we did on the east side of the Bronx, we had a councilwoman who was supported by the borough president, and the borough president had given her two large donations. There was a Republican candidate running against the incumbent Democrat, and the community elected the Republican. It's the first Republican in the city council in 40 years, Christy Marmorato. And she'll thank me because I got that right. I've always so, Christy will be taking over January 1st, which is about a week from now, or a little bit more, about 8 or 9 days.
Right.
And, she will be working with the community and not against the community.
Right.
So I want to thank both of you for coming.
And that's the result of people being fed up. And this is just the beginning. Darnie, you need to get people that are going to run against in primary the incumbents that are there now, because in my opinion, they are all corrupt, and they don't care about the community. They care about power and money, and that's it. So you're on the west side. We need to talk and work together to get stuff done.
And KBorn, you have Anthony Rivecchio to call because he said he went into retirement. 2024 is the year he's going to come out of retirement to help candidates. So if you have a candidate, Anthony, right? Yeah. My former co-host.
Yeah, but how much can he help?
No,
really. I mean, for real. What could he?
Right. So give Anthony a call if you have a candidate. Okay. And I'm going to thank you two for coming on. As I said at the beginning.
Real quick. What? Let me add on to something real quick.
Okay.
Now, me personally being around them and when I started out of my community, I 100% agree that everything that Vanessa got, she learned from Ruben Diaz Jr. Because she followed him around. So all the development deals that he was doing, he split it down to her. Now she doing the same thing that he was doing. She's selling the Bronx.
Right. Exactly.
Got a whole clan underneath her. Just like you said, it's a whole clan of them. You got the Parrina Sanchez.
Parrina Sanchez is so bad.
You got Udelka. You got Jamal Billy. You got the Rafael Staladelka dude. You got him. You got all of them inside the clan. So when which is called corruption. So when one of them go against you, all of them go against you.
Yes.
When one of them funds you, your non-effective program, they all fund you.
Okay, I have to close the show now, guys.
All right, Darnie, message me. I'll give you my number.
Okay, yeah. Robert, take care of that, and I'll transfer our numbers so that we can get in contact.
Okay, no problem. Let me thank my guests for coming on. And as I said before, any opinions that was said here are those of my guests or
That's right.
Who scrolled comments across the bottom of the screen, and not necessarily that of Muslim media. And let me close with a wish that my viewers have a Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, or if you are watching this after Christmas, that you had a Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, or Happy Kwanzaa. In the event that, like I said, you're watching this after, in the future. And next week, I'll have a look at 2023 a look back at 2023, and a look ahead to 2024. And I want to thank my viewers for watching and my guests for coming on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Merry
In a world where the quality of information available to poorer communities is doctored, tainted, and sometimes regressive, where the words fake news have come to mean other people's opinions, it is vital to rely on news platform with journalists who have feet on the ground and can report the truth. New York Parrot, a New York-based national and global news